This is my third recording. I have to show you guys this. So, for those of you who have seen my new Earth theory, or are even interested in that type of thing, essentially I posit that the 15th century map points to the moon being inserted, essentially. And from there I posit that the Great Flood and all of our history and like all of that reset. They drew Noah as a living king in 1516. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of turn down, because this is what happened is I did this on my iPhone, and it recorded both the video sound and my sound, period. So here's the map, and for 3,500 years, when Mapmaker sat down to draw Noah, and I don't mean he's remembered here, I'm just kind of reading along. It's not a small note. This is actually the mapmaker who coined the term America. They draw him as a living king, seated under a tent and sword laid across his knees. So, as you can see, and what that roughly transcribes to there is here sits Noah. Let me just go to it so I don't butcher it. He has an army at his command, and this map was made in 1516. So, printed above his head is the name we know since we were born, right? It's Noah, Noah's Ark, the Ark of the Covenant. And as they have, we have too spent a lot of time in Tartary and watched a country the size of a continent get erased. Tartary also, I think, comes from Tartarus, earthbound prison, and the land of the earthbound prison. And Noah was the king of that land, and we are all descendants of, according to many mythologies. And this isn't like a missing empire, a border move somewhere. This is right smack in the center. It's not in the wrong place. It's not in the wrong time. It's one of the greatest map makers, and nobody's able to explain how it got there. So, let's look at it with this YouTube channel, who I'm very thankful for posting this map. It was, the cartographer is Martin Waldsmüller. In 1516, he finished one of the largest and some call the strangest world maps of an entire age. He called it Carta Marina. And this was no amateur working from sailors' rumors. A few years earlier, it had been Waldsmüller's own hand that gave the New World the name it still carries today, America. That was him. But the Carta Marina wasn't like his other works. Most maps at the time left the land bare, a coastline, a river, or a mountain, and a great deal of empty space. Waldsmüller's filled his with words. Long paragraphs of them tucked into the continents describing who lived in each place, in what some call old stories, and I think old truths. Scholars today call these long legends, of course, and for nearly 400 years, almost no one bothered to read them. Until very recently, like literally within the last few years, they've been transcribed in full. And wouldn't you know what it says on that sheet that covers the heart of Asia, the region of his own map that labels Tartaria, the wide country between the Black Sea and the Caspian. And there is a small, careful illustration. A bearded king, he sits in an open tent. The kind of war leader carried with him on campaign, a peaked roof crowned with little flags, a long sword rests across his lap. His face is worn and older, and his eyes are watchful. Around him, the land climbs into rows of sharp wood-cut mountains cut through with the thin red lines of the map's grid. Besides the tent sits a block of dense, spiked Gothic script, the crabbed handwriting of Northern Europe in the 1400s. And directly above the king, larger than anything in the area, it says Noi in all capital letters. The Latin beside him has been transcribed and passed hand to hand across independent history sites for years. Cleaned up reads something close to this. Here rules and marches Noi, prince of the Tartars, and commander over 600 armed men. Sit with that just for a moment. Noi, Noah, not talked into a corner as a distant ancestor from the dawn of time. seated at the throne of Tartaria, in command of an army at the center of our world, and placed right next to the mountains of Ararat, the very place the book of Genesis tells us the ark came to rest when the floodwaters finally fell. And it's not just one map. These were maps actually for the next century, showed this and repeated it. And then I'm going to go ahead and skip to the end here, and he posits the same thing about the timeline being much closer, which I also found very interesting. So they say, is it anything? Let's go back a little bit. But it comes from the very same instinct that put Noah on the map in the first place. The deep, stubborn sense that the origins of a whole peoples had drifted east into the region of our histories later on went so oddly quiet about. So I'll leave it exactly where the map leaves it, they say. A king in a tent, a sword across his knees, a name that had no business being there. I don't know who Noah was. I say that plainly. They say, I only know that for 100 years, careful men who made careful maps kept writing his name in the middle of a country, especially in the middle of the world on the map we are now assured truly never existed. Maybe it means nothing at all. Maybe it means our timeline is shorter than we think. Very interesting to me. So, and it goes along with that New Earth theory. I'll link it in the description if anybody's interested in that kind of thing. I know it's not like the current conspiracy stuff, but this is just one of my other interests, is the true history of us.
Money do too. Came around and we got the